And we're live. Beers and Buffalo Podcast Season 7, Episode 7. Back at it again for another week of football. Taking the headphones off. We got it. No hiccups this time in the beginning. Hiccups. No two tries at it. The live button showed up. We're ready to go here, man. Ready to rock.
Notification right away like we're supposed to. That's the only reason I knew last week we weren't actually live is because I didn't get my notification. Yeah. So
it's always tricky. Like I've told you before, like I have to hit start streaming and then I got to wait like probably 5 seconds and then it says go live and I have to hit it again.
Yeah, that should just be one
It should just be one click. It's a automatic 2-click thing. Yeah. I'm not going to complain because OBS, which we stream from, is free. Appreciate it. Don't have to pay $1 a month for it. So I'll take it. It's free. If I got to go jump through an extra click, I'll jump through an extra clip. But back at it again, we got week 4 of football coming up here. Before we talk Bills and the NFL, we're going to talk a little bit of beer here. And I'm on beer duty today, and I brought another local legend here. Now, I'll say right from the beginning, I'm going to be biased because this is probably my favorite IPA of all time. Just going to go ahead and say that.
Yeah, it's funny because when you said you're on beer duty earlier, I was about to text you and be like, we need a redemption from last week because last week's just wasn't that good. And I didn't want to, I was thinking, that was my call last week on the beer, so I'll wait to say something for next week when it's my turn to buy beer.
Right.
But when you said you got your favorite beer, I was excited. And I already knew it was a hazy IPA when you said it was your favorite IPA.
Absolutely. I'll say, as far as other local IPAs, Hayburner's probably my second, I'd say, in there.
Hayburner's very good.
Just because it's so consistent, dude. It's always it's never missed, man. If you go somewhere, and most restaurants carry that too.
Yep.
I've actually seen the White Bronco showing up at a couple places as well, which is nice that they're growing. The Brickyard Brewing Company is growing their brand a little bit more and getting some of their beers out there. But I'd say this is probably their flagship. If I had to take a guess, this is the one I do see if I go to a restaurant and they are carrying a Brickyard product. But yeah, I love this one. So I got it up on the screen here too. So for the folks at home that are watching,
did they name this after O.J. Simpson?
They did.
Did they really? Or
they did. No, they did. That's the
White Bronco that screams OJ. If you're from Buffalo and you hear the two words White Bronco, you immediately think of OJ Simpson.
A little bit of a police chase. And good head on this one here. Maybe a little bit much. Maybe a little bit much.
Nice round top
Jeff.
on that.
Jeff
Woo, that's good.
Jeff got the pour this week.
Good. I'm like a professional over here.
Jeez.
Pouring some nice beers. That's got the nice little bubble butt on top of the
And as you said, bottle. Hazy, you could tell right off the bat. You can't see through it.
This looks fantastic.
Great color on this one.
I can smell it already. I already know this is going to be a good. I love IPAs. I love hazies.
Well,
cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's good. Wow. Yeah, that's definitely better than Hayburner. That's good. You get all the flavors right off the bat. Wow, that's a good beer.
I'm gonna move you into the camera a little bit.
Oh, I'm not in range. That's all right. People don't want to see my ugly mug anyway. So
I tilted a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, dude, this is a go-to right here.
Yeah, this is absolutely fantastic.
Super fruity on the nose.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I could smell it before I even brought it to my nose.
It's a 6.8. I'm gonna bring up the screen real quick here.
6.8 according to the can.
Yeah, 6.8% New England IPA. Hazy, this is just quintessential IPA. Yeah. I mean, it's not offensive either. 6.8. Probably it's the second highest one we've done this season.
Yeah,
but it doesn't feel like it can kick your ass. You feel like you can actually have a couple of these. It will. It's like a sneaky one. It'll catch up on you a little bit. This is
the Hayburner's high 7s, just under 8 or 7.
No, not the Hayburner.
Really? I thought the Hayburners were close to 8%.
No,
I thought they were a 7.6 or 7.8.
No, the Sleigh Burner is or whatever, but I think theirs are. They're probably on par with this. They might be in the 7s, but they're not close to 8. Once you get to the 8 territory, you're in double IPA. Yeah, which they did have. I forgot the name of it, but they do make a something Bronco, and it's a double IPA, and it's 8.3%. I didn't want to grab that because we haven't done the White Bronco and we needed the baseline. So maybe in a few weeks we'll revisit and we'll do the double IPA.
Okay.
We haven't done a double IPA this year either. So
well, I've been trying because we did a lot of IPAs last season and we started out with a couple IPAs.
Yeah,
and we're very conscious of it now, of not getting an IPA. So we're trying to
Well, it's like you don't want it to be like a weekly thing, but as you can see here, we're splitting it. We did IPA, 2 Pilsners, a ale, IPA, Kolsch, IPA again. So we'll probably go a couple weeks here with no IPAs, but and that'll work out perfectly because as the weather gets colder, you're gonna want a double IPA. That thing will warm you right up.
Yep.
What are we thinking here on the rating?
I'm going right off the bat 9. This is absolutely fantastic. This might be like my favorite beer. Besides a nice cheap Miller Lite.
A cheap Miller Lite.
If I'm having a nice craft beer and I see a White Bronco, immediate yes. I don't even have to see the rest of the selection. This is fantastic.
I'm going to go ahead and give it a 9.4 on this one. 9.4.
I knew I'd be low compared to yours.
Not much low. You're like in the 9s. 9s are still a banger score, man. But
like you said, this is your favorite beer. I knew you'd be high.
Yeah.
I don't even think I'd give a Hayburner a 9, but this is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Also, coming off of last week's all-time low here with a 5.2 and a 5.5.
I feel so bad. That's such a horrible beer.
Dude, I went back to look at like last year's rankings, and nothing was that low. This was the lowest. That Kolsch was the lowest rated beer we've ever done in 2 years. So,
well, unfortunately, you know what? I might have to try. I'm probably going to have to try to redeem them a little bit. That company, 42 North, right?
They have other beers that are really good. They have other beers.
I'm going to have to try something else in a couple weeks. Maybe we'll give it like a month or something. I'll have to try another 42 North beer just to see if, maybe it's them or maybe it's just our taste buds not liking Kolsch's that much. But
it could just be like their Kolsch too. Because like I said, we've had the flavored Kolsch's from Genesee, and those are really good.
Yeah.
Which that could even be something we throw on maybe next week too, to kind of redeem the Kolsch's.
Yeah.
And maybe we go Jenny.
We
do the
cranberry orange is fantastic.
And that's kind of getting towards the season too. You think of Thanksgiving, the little cranberry.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So that might be something to revisit. All right, let's switch back over here.
And while you're switching, I was going to shout out my kids again because they're watching.
Absolutely.
They say they're watching. Last week they said they were watching and they had it up and they weren't actually watching. But hey,
you're there.
Hey, I'm here.
You're in the background.
I said hello to them. They didn't hear me, quote unquote. But if they hear me this time, make sure you actually get your homework done because they were fighting a little bit on the way out the door.
All right, guys, let's get into it here. Bills defeating the Dolphins last Thursday night, 31-21. A much closer game than the previous week against the Jets. And I don't think we were too surprised. Divisional opponents, usually pretty tricky early in the season, too. Anything can kind of happen. There's not much film on them. They don't got much film on us other than the first, 2 games. So, it could go in as a blowout like we did against the Jets. It could go in as a close game like it was last Thursday. Back and forth for about 4 quarters there. You felt like the Bills, though, were again in control of this game, even though it was like a 1-score game the whole game.
Yeah, it was tough. And, coming off of a short week, we only had 3 days of actual rest. They only practiced on Tuesday last week. We had a bunch of injuries on the defense again. Thankfully, this week's injury report's a little bit lighter than last week's.
Yeah.
But coming off on short rest, a divisional opponent, an opponent that always plays us tough. Miami's probably one of the teams that have beaten us most recently a couple of years ago. But I kind of disagree with you. I don't think the Bills were really in control of that game. It was tied pretty much the entire game. The turning point was that roughing the punter.
Yeah,
then after that, it was even then, the Dolphins were driving down to tie it up 28-28, and if it wasn't for that Benford interception,
Bernard
Benford, he throws me off because he changed his number.
Yeah,
when I see number 8, I'm like, oh, that's right, Bernard. He changed his number. And to be honest with you, I can't remember what his number was last year, but I'm like, who's number 8? And I'm like, Bernard. Oh, that's right. He changed his number.
That's because they allowed all these guys start doing any numbers, and a lot of them are doing single digits.
Yeah, you got a 0 in there. Next thing you know, they're going to allow a 00. Anyways, back on track here. It just felt like this game was so back and forth, that I was kind of worried.
It was back and forth, but I didn't believe that the Dolphins would get like too far ahead. If they did get up on a score on us, okay, but I didn't feel like we would fall behind by too much. And what I mean by in control is I was never worried we would lose the game. It was going to be close, but Josh looked good. The running game looked good. The defense was a little spotty, and that's why it was as close as it was. Penalties and shit like that. But I'm saying they're in control because I didn't worry about us losing the game despite being a closer game than the week before, where we were obviously in control by the score. You could see that at the end score.
And the old Bills would have lost that game. Like, even 3 years ago, Josh Allen's Bills probably would have lost that game just because of how close and how back and forth it was. The Bills usually always find a way to lose games that are like that. When games we should win, we were 12.5-point favorite going into it. And I was actually more impressed with how Miami's offensive line played last week because they were atrocious the first 2 weeks. They've got 4 different guys on that offensive line that haven't really played together, who don't have that, the unison that our offensive line has. And I was more impressed that they held up against our defense more so like Joey Bosa.
Joey Bosa, yeah.
It was more one of those games where I'm just like, the offensive line is actually holding its own when they shouldn't be. And I was more worried about the fact that, like, their defense was actually getting pressure on Josh, too, which I wasn't expecting.
Bradley Chubb got in there a couple times.
Exactly. They got a sack on Josh. That was Josh Allen's first sack of the year.
Yeah.
And that was Miami's first sack of the year. Miami didn't have a sack going into that game.
Yeah.
And the fact that all of this, I'm like, the writing was on the wall. The Bills could have lost that game.
They could have, but home game helps as well.
Of course.
Overall, better team in this one. The Dolphins, they strike first on this. They converted on 3 separate third downs, which is a theme in that game. They were converting on a lot of third downs at that game. Ollie Gordon ended up getting in the end zone on a 2-yard run to go up 7-0. Bills answered back on back-to-back scoring drives. Both the tight ends, we hit Kincaid on that nice pass, 20-yarder, his second of the season. And then the next drive was a 10-play drive, 63 yards, resulting in Jackson Hawes, dude. And I'm liking Jackson Hawes a lot.
Me too.
I'm starting to like him. I'm kind of alluding to this, but I'm thinking the Bills might be using a 3 tight end set here a little bit more.
I think so too. And it was nice to see Jackson Hawes. And that play was just like, that was magic by Josh Allen, just running in, knowing where he was on the field. Yeah. A lot of quarterbacks in this league won't realize where they are. And a lot of quarterbacks won't have the balls that Josh Allen has to flip that ball forward because that's just a little shovel pass.
You never see shovel passes outside of Mahomes. That's what I'm saying. Outside of Mahomes and Allen, man, I never see that play. Miami did take advantage of a Prater missed field goal, his first of the year. Tied the game at 14, and that's where it ended at the half. So, yeah, going into the half, tied 14, Prater missing his first field goal of the year, who looked automatic up until that point.
I think that was a bad hold.
It might have been because the kick was so atrocious, dude.
It had to have been a bad hold. And I'm pretty sure I heard something on the broadcast of the game that they said the hold wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. It was kind of one of those ones where, like, they needed a half second more to straighten out the ball before he kicked it, because I think the ball was a little sideways when he kicked it, which makes sense as to why it got...
Yeah, it just went sideways and just kind of helicoptered over there.
Immediately. So I think that was more of a hold. I don't think that was much on Matt Prater, who ended up kicking another one later in the game that sealed the deal, yeah.
So kind of fast forward here, even though we couldn't shake the Dolphins, I still felt good about the game. Fast forward to the fourth quarter, game's tied at 21-all, less than 8 minutes ago. Josh Allen connects with Shakir on a 15-yard touchdown, go-ahead score, his third touchdown of the night, and that put him at 200 passing touchdowns in his career. For some reason, I thought he has more, but it's just because he runs the ball a lot.
Yeah.
Total touchdowns is probably like 300. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's 300 because that was the record. He beat Pat Mahomes' record of youngest player to 300 total touchdowns in the league. It was held by Pat Mahomes. That last one actually broke Pat Mahomes' record of 300 as the youngest player in the NFL to do it. So that was nice to see. But leading up before the Bills had that the punt, the blocking of the punt or roughing the punter, the Bills had a drive where they had a rush for no gain.
Yeah.
And then they had 2 back-to-back passing plays where they're going through their hands and they're not catching them that would have been first downs. And they end up going 3 and out because of it. And it was just one of those things where it's like, we keep that drive alive. This game never gets even close. We probably go up, 35-21 at that point, or whatever it was going into it.
I mean, I don't know what Keon Coleman's stat line was that game. I was going to look it up, but
he had a decent game. Nobody really had anything that stood out passing wise. I think Josh Allen
3 for 20, dude.
But he made good plays when he needed to. He made a couple of grabs. Yeah. A couple of those grabs were pretty crucial. And, but I think that's going to be the theme of the Buffalo Bills this year is we're not going to have our wide receivers go off for like 9 for $120. We're going to have a bunch of guys go 4 or 5 catches for like 50 or 60 yards, 40 yards even, and just they're going to make the plays that we need them to. Josh Palmer was pretty much non-existent in that game. He had 1 catch, I think, for 5 yards, which the previous week he was involved much more. And I just really think that this is going to be one of those seasons where we just have a group of receivers between the wide receivers, the running backs, all 3 tight ends. It's going to be one of those seasons where everybody's going to contribute, but nobody's going to blow stats like out of the water. We might get 1 game.
Yeah.
Where Keon Coleman.
The first game of the season here, 8 catches, 112 yards and a touchdown. I think fantasy owners thought that was going to keep happening. And then the next 2 games, he combines for 6 catches and 46 yards. So it's kind of inflated in that first game, which it probably needed to be because that was the way the game script was, us playing catch up, Josh having to throw the ball a lot more. I guess that's the other part of the argument is like our run game has been so efficient and we've been in control. I still think we were pretty much in control of that Dolphins game where we didn't fall behind where we needed to throw the ball a lot. So you're going to see guys like Keon Coleman finish a game with 3 catches and be kind of disappointed, but it all depends on game script. And I think if Josh starts throwing the ball, he'll catch him because he did that in week 1.
And it's not that we didn't put them away. It's we let them stay in the game. And I think that's what worried me the most is we couldn't like distance ourselves. And I really think that drive where we went 3 and out after the rush and the 2 drop passes that should have been for first downs that went through receivers' hands, I really think that was going to be the drive that actually put us ahead of them so much that that roughing the punter didn't matter and the interception wouldn't have mattered.
Right. So kind of just to close out the game was on the line, like you said earlier. Dolphins threatening to score 3 minutes to go. Bernard seals the deal with a late interception right in front of Jalen Waddle. Bills end up getting another field goal, but Prater kind of iced the game. We move on 3-0. Hooray. Allen finished 2 of 28, 213. Improved his record over Miami 14-2 with 43 touchdowns in those games. So over 16 games, 43.
It's unreal.
43 passing touchdowns.
That's almost 3 touchdowns a game.
Yeah. Buffalo's won 10 straight home meetings against the Dolphins in the span of McDermott's 9-year career there. Cook became the first player to top 100 yards against Miami in the last 36 games against Miami's opponents. And this is the 14th straight home game where the Bills forced a turnover. So
a
lot of positive
positives, but a lot of things that
they can clean up.
They can clean up, but I'm glad it's early in the season enough to clean up. We're going to get a couple of defensive players back. You're talking about Michael Hoyt and Okunjobi or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
They'll come back from suspension. And I think the Michael Hoyt
is that
one.
Week 6?
So they're suspended 6 games. They can come back 7, but I think our bye week is 7, so they come back week 8, which is annoying. But I actually think the Michael Hoyt, when he comes back, is going to be the biggest beneficial for the Bills because it's going to take the snap count away from Joey Bosa. So I think limiting his snaps, keeping him healthier, is going to be a big thing. So them two, counterparting each other,
right?
Going back and forth, subbing in for each other is going to be huge to keep them both healthy. As long as Hoyt produces the way he should.
Did he end up getting hurt in that game?
Bosa, I don't think so. He's not on the injury report.
Okay, good.
As far as I know, he's still.
You sent me a couple injuries.
There's only 4 on the injury report as of today.
It was Milano,
Ed Oliver.
Who else?
2
other guys. That
I can look it up real quick.
I thought I heard about Bosa being maybe hurt, or not. Maybe it was like not practicing. Maybe he was just taking a rest day earlier in the week. And I was concerned that maybe
veteran rest probably.
Yeah,
is one of those
it could
things.
be something like that because we want to keep him healthy.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, getting some of those other guys back on the line so we can get some more rest out to these guys that need it to stay healthy. You got to keep rotating, and that's one thing the Bills have haven't had is like health on defense. And if we can get into the season late and have somewhat of fresh legs out there, I think it'll be beneficial going into the playoffs.
Yeah, the Bills only have 4 players on their injury report coming into this week. Spencer Brown, calf, did not practice. That's probably precautionary. I fully expect him to play. AJ Espinoza also has a pectoral injury. He was limited today. And then you got Matt Milano, pectoral, did not practice, and Ed Oliver did not practice. So only 4 guys on the injury report going into this is pretty big for the Bills.
Yeah.
Especially because, we want them to get healthy. Ed Oliver still kind of pisses me off that he's hurt because he got stepped on in practice of all things. So that's kind of the most frustrating injury of all the 4 is Ed Oliver's could have been prevented.
Yeah. They'll remain out, Oliver, with the ankle injury.
Okay, they already announced it?
Yeah,
okay.
This was 5 hours ago. I was trying to find something recent, so it looks like he won't be there again. For this upcoming game here against the New Orleans Saints on Sunday. Going to get into that right now. So we're back to our favorite time slot. 1 p.m., I believe, again, right?
1 o'clock.
One
of 4 or 5 this year.
Mm-hmm. And we're up against the 0-3 Saints. Now, I know that I said last week the Dolphins look like the worst team in the NFL, and that was apparent from the spread. I stand corrected because now the Saints, who are also winless, they look like the worst team in football. They're a 16.5-point
Holy
underdog.
Smokes. I would bet that.
I would too if it was a divisional game, but I don't know, man. I can see the Bills. This is tricky, dude. I think you probably should bet it because that's a crazy amount of points for the NFL.
Spencer Rattler is probably not. He's probably a third-string quarterback on 31 other NFL teams. Yeah. Same with Tyler Shuck, who got drafted this year. Probably at least a backup on probably 25 other NFL teams. The fact that
16.5 points, dude. I don't know. You're saying bet the Saints with the points?
No, I'm saying the Bills are going to cover that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say
no. I'm saying the Bills are going to cover that. Like, this is probably going to be like another 35-10 game. Like, I really think. I really think
25. Yeah.
Yeah. Good math. That was right off the top of my head. I really think that the Bills are going to cover this spread, and I don't even think it's going to be close. I would be shocked if they got a touchdown.
16.5 is wild for the NFL, I feel like. You start approaching almost 20 points territory.
That's college level.
That's college level.
That's when you go from a D1. That's like Alabama versus
some of those are like 50. Those are like 50-point games. You talk about Alabama.
Old Alabama.
New Orleans, led by newly appointed head coach Kellen Moore, former Eagles OC last year. They're up against a tough opponent in this Bills team. They still have some skill position players, though. You got Kamara to worry about. You got Olave to worry about. But the receiving core is led by tight end Dwan Johnson this year. He's got 19 catches, 176 yards, and a touchdown through 3 weeks. I don't think anybody saw that coming, especially when you have a good pass-catching running back like Kamara and Olave, who is, I still think, he'd be a number 1 on every team in the NFL. So just about.
You just got a bad quarterback.
It's just off on paper. You kind of go, all right, they got some pieces, but you're right. The quarterback situation wasn't really answered in the offseason. They drafted a guy in Tyler Shuck. They still haven't started him yet. I wonder if they're going to wait maybe a couple more weeks. If they go 0-5, you'd have to think they have to make, even maybe after this week. I think it just depends also on how the quarterback plays. But I mean, I think patience might be running out down there. So you start off 0-4, 0-5, you got to think about doing a quarterback change at that point. Rattler hasn't been terrible, though. I mean, he's been throwing the ball a lot, and that's mainly because they've been down. And I think he's got like 600 something yards through 3 games and only 1 interception. So he's been kind of protecting the ball despite having to throw, being down a lot. Now, maybe it's garbage time, yards too. Maybe teams are playing prevent defense at that and don't give a shit. The game's already closed out, i.e. last week against the Seahawks when they lost by 30.
Right.
So, it is what it is. Bills definitely got to keep that run game going again. We've been running those 3 tight end sets like I mentioned earlier. And you could do a lot of that. You can run, you could pass, you could do play actions. I think it disguises what the Bills want to do really well in a 3 tight end set. I like that thought of, all right, we can have Jackson Hawes and Kincaid kind of in there on the outside, maybe run Knox on the inside of one of those 2 guys. And, you give James Cook the opportunity with 3 tight ends blocking as well to really do some damage, and then you throw a play action in there, and that's one of those guys kind of leak out of the backfield, or you hit James Cook out of the backfield, and you got yourself a big game.
Yeah.
So,
no, I totally agree. I think there's going to be a high-powered offensive game. I really see Josh probably going over his projected stat line. I didn't get to look it up what it was, but I know he's kind of been a little bit lighter in the passing game, but that's because the run game has been so good. James Cook has been so good. James Cook's usage has been up so much these first 3 games compared to last year that people are wondering, like, is Ray Davis cooked? Like, no pun intended, like, or because Ray Davis hasn't looked good when he's gotten the ball. Yeah. But I just think the game script has gone in favor of James Cook. He's been, eating defenses alive. Like, yeah, James Cook only had 200 rushes last year. He might be closer to 250, 300 this year. And that's not, people are saying, like, we got to save him for the playoffs. Save him for the playoffs. We got to get to the playoffs first. So
he'll be fine.
Let's pump the brakes on that. He's young. He's exactly. Young. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, these aren't these old guys, which we'll get into. There was a couple older gentlemen at the running back position that are apparently done for the year, but we'll get into that a little bit later. And to kind of finish off here on Rattler, who's been locked in here on Olave for most of it, I think that's a big part. Just take Olave out of this game, and I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
He's been trying to force feed the guy the ball.
Do you think we should take? Sorry to cut you off, but do you think we should take Juwan Johnson out of the?
I mean, I think
out
that's
the game because
he's their leading receiver as of now, but they're going to try to get Olave 10 to 12 targets a game. So I think Benford's going to be covering him. He's been pretty good at covering the number 1 through the first 3 games. I think he'll be able to hold down Olave, who also has a injury history. He got concussed twice last year.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know if he's really. Maybe that's still in the back of his mind, not to be making some crazy risky plays out there. He's trying to protect himself because we haven't really seen any big plays out of Olave. He hasn't really gone off this year, and maybe that's subconsciously he's thinking about that, trying to stay healthy. And I think there are a couple areas that the Bills can work on. I know we talked about that a little bit. The penalties and defense, and those are kind of the easy ones. I think we could start taking advantage, or at least practicing here, maybe some more downfield passes. Josh hasn't had to.
That's what I mean.
He hasn't had to air it out, and I get it. It's game script, but against an opponent like the Saints, where I think you could take some chances, home game, bad team, I'd like to see them stretch it to see what we can do deep downfield, and then that puts the fear of God in their eyes, right? Well, the fear of Josh, I should say.
Well, that's kind of why I feel like the Bills are going to. Josh is going to have a really big game this week, and you're going to see. I think you're going to see a little less of James Cook and a little bit more of Josh Allen throwing the ball, just because of how bad this defense is and how easy it should be to win this game. You're talking about 16.5-point favorites.
Yep.
Like the Bills should easily be up 3 scores going into the half at that point. I really think you're going to see a lot of Josh Allen. I think you're going to see some plays that we haven't seen yet, some deep balls that Josh hasn't done yet. You're going to see a lot of Palmer, a lot of Keon Coleman on the sidelines. You're going to see a lot of Elijah Moore too.
I just want to see them stretch the field.
That's what I mean.
They run these 5 wide or 4 wide sets a lot, but they're not really necessarily taking a deep shot here. And I'd like them to take some more to Coleman or Palmer. Just go stretch the field. I want to see that. We know Josh can dink it off to Shakir for 5 yards and pick up another 10. I want to see them stretch the field and actually throw some deep passes. Part of that too is like, I know Josh, I think even overall in the last couple of years hasn't been taking those shots because he doesn't want to chance an interception. He's cleaned up his turnovers a lot. And part of that is not making risky throws when he doesn't need to. But I get it. We're trying to play clean football. You want to come away with the win. Dude, this is an opponent where you can take advantage and try to figure some things out. What can you do with the deep pass? Is it going to work?
Yep.
Are there guys you throw into you? You got that deep pass chemistry? Because you got to kind of build that up now. You don't want to start throwing deep passes week 18.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
Totally get it. I completely agree with you. And that's why I said, and I'll triple down on it.
Triple down.
That's why I think you're going to see a little bit less of James Cook this week and a little bit more of Josh Allen making these, tougher throws down the field, because we can't go through the season where Josh Allen is comfortable making these short range passes and expecting our wide receivers to get an extra 5-6 yards out of after contact and to get the first down. Right. There's going to be games where we're going to have to rely on Josh making a deep ball throw, and that's going to come from repetition. I think this is one of those games. I hate to say it. I don't want to knock on the Saints. They're a professional team. They've got good players on that team. They're clearly in a rebuild season, or reload, whatever you want to call it. They're in one of those seasons where they're not going to be good. They're not going to challenge for the division. They're probably going to be a top 4 pick, 3 pick in the draft this year. Maybe looking at another quarterback, because I don't know if Tyler Shuck.
No, but you got to see that's too early to say that, because he could come in, like I said, week 5 and just blow the doors off of things. Highly unlikely, but it could happen. So
it could.
Maybe they do go quarterback if Shuck doesn't work out, but you can bet your ass they're going to throw him in the fire eventually, because you can't go 0 forever here. So even if Rattler does squeak out a win against somebody else, it's like, I think they do try to see what they got in Shuck against NFL opponents in real life games here, and not being a preseason, and then you make your decision. But yeah, I think at this point, they'll still end up drafting a quarterback depending on which round maybe. Kamara's getting older. Maybe they move on from Olave if he has another serious injury this year, and your whole offense has to get revamped after that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's one of those things, not to get too far ahead, because I'm sure you got this in your notes, but you got to see what you've got in your rookie quarterback, much like the Giants are doing this week with Jackson Dart. So, like I said, I don't want to get too far ahead, but these are professional players. You're in a professional football league. I know they might technically be adults, but they're still very young kids, especially compared to us old motherfuckers.
Well, the best way to get experience is to get some reps. You got to
get the Band-Aid off.
Get reps.
That's what I listened to Booger McFarland this morning. He said, just rip the Band-Aid off. What are you protecting them for? Like, protecting them from get their feelings hurt? They're going to get hit no matter what, whether they're good or not. If they're not good, they're going to show it really early. I think
it's a confidence thing, but I don't want to get into that yet, because I do want to talk about Jackson Dart. So let's get into some other NFL news there. I'll start some things off with the Packers getting their first loss of the season at the hands of the Browns.
Shit,
the Browns.
That was weird.
Highly defensive game, 13-10. Cleveland's defense had 4 sacks and a pick on Jordan Love. Big win for the Browns. I think it gives Flacco another couple of weeks here at the helm, because, they were probably another 1 or 2 more losses away from sticking in probably Gabriel. I think he's technically the backup, but I mean, they got another week. Definitely I'll go with the second shock of the week. The Panthers getting their first win of the season and blanking the Falcons.
Shock of the week was blanking them. The picking them was not a shock, because I picked them to win last week. That was not a shock. After going 15-1, and I picked the Panthers.
What I mean, blanking
that's
them.
Not a shock.
That's why I said blanking them.
Yeah, that's more of a shock than the Panthers winning.
No, that's still pretty big shock. Now Atlanta hasn't looked good. 30-0 is really bad. That's an insane freaking call. I don't think anybody, like you said, thought they were going to shut them out. It's possible. But I'm saying that's the biggest upset of the week, just because it was a 30-0 win. Especially
after Atlanta beat Minnesota the week before.
Yeah.
Granted, with the hurt J.J. McCarthy. But the fact that they beat them and then Minnesota goes on to score like 40-plus points with Carson Wentz as their quarterback, Real quick, the only stat that I saw is Michael Penix is now 0-4 as a starter when the opposing team scores more than 7 points. Like,
oh, that's
good.
Good.
That's horrible.
It's not a good.
That's a touchdown.
Stat.
Literally, if you score a touchdown against Michael Penix, you're probably going to win.
You're going to win the game. I think this is more on Atlanta looking bad than the Panthers looking good. No, the shutout's still a shutout, but I think it's still more on Atlanta looking bad. They went back to Kirk Cousins at the end of that game, too, for some reps. But is this a case where, Jesus, maybe it's a good thing that they held on to Kirk because they might actually have to start him a few games.
Yeah.
It could be a situation where, they did that to Richardson when they benched him for a little bit. They did it to Bryce Young. They benched him for a little bit just to get, hey, man, your job's not safe in the NFL. Just because we named you the starting quarterback now after the first guy shit the bed doesn't mean we can't go back to that first guy again.
Right.
And I think some of these guys might get complacent. A lot of the younger guys get complacent where they go, all right, it's my job now. I don't have to really worry about too much. They're not going to go back to the old guy. They might go back to the old guy because Kirk Cousins probably gives them just as good as an opportunity as Michael Penix at this point. The Kirk Cousins things wasn't a weird situation because I thought he played great the first maybe 6 games of the season last year, and then it was just kind of like completely turned upside down and he just disappeared. So yeah, just I wouldn't be surprised if they went back to Kirk later in the year.
And not to mention how much money Kirk Cousins is making as a backup. He's already making money,
so it's like
he's already making. I think he's making like $20-something million as a backup.
Yeah,
like that's unbelievable for a backup quarterback to make that type of money. To get benched for a rookie last year and then,
they messed up because they paid him and then they just drafted a guy, that high that
was
had
a
a
weird
feeling
draft.
They had a feeling that they were going to start him eventually anyway. So like they kind of shot themselves in the foot with both of those situations. Chargers remain undefeated, beating the Broncos 23-20 at home. We saw Najee go down, torn Achilles, missed the rest of the season. Omarion Hampton steps in. Looks like he had no problem fitting in as the number one.
He looks good.
What we haven't seen is Ladd McConkey show out. He's kind of just been quiet this year.
I thought that was kind of weird myself.
Quentin Johnson's actually looked like the number one as far as the receiving court goes. And now you got a rookie.
Keenan Allen has looked at the number one.
I mean, maybe. I think Johnson has more yards, but Keenan Allen does have a touchdown in each game too. He's already got.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
He does have the chemistry already with Herbert, so that helps. And he's also old, so I don't know how much he can keep this up for the whole year.
Yeah, he does have a small injury report the last few years too. I know that's why San Diego the Chargers kind of cut ties with him originally because he was battling injuries towards the end of his time with LA.
He's aging, dude. These guys move on. They want to get younger. They want to get younger receivers anyways. So yeah, kind of shocked that Ladd hasn't kind of had a big game yet, but I had plenty of time. I wouldn't be worried about him if you're a Chargers fan.
No.
Rams choked a 19-point lead in the third quarter.
Unreal.
Lost on a blocked field goal at the end of regulation to the Eagles. Rams dominated the first half. And offensively, Philly just couldn't get anything going. People are saying it's the new OC's fault. Maybe they are really missing Kellen Moore right now. I don't know. Hurts made a ton more audibles in that second half than he did in the first. Somebody pointed this out. Not me. People smarter than me noticed this, and I'm just going to repeat it.
There's people smarter than you? I don't believe it.
There's like 2. So I don't know, man. I feel like, how are you not throwing the ball to A.J. Brown? How are you not taking any deep shots? It's like they're just relying on Saquon to just do everything and then the tush push to finish the job.
Yeah.
It's a very simple and basic approach. And NFL teams, granted, we both, I think you said this, I think so. Next year they're probably just going to they are going to ban the tush push after
I said it. You said no, one more year.
All right. Well, I think I might be convinced that they
All
might.
Right, yeah, you're convinced.
Especially after the amount of false starts that aren't getting called.
I'm watching these
They're
replays.
just not, if the refs can't control that, and then obviously this shit piles up for the end of the year, they're going to go back and go, we got all this tape on all these Eagles games, all these false starts that you guys missed. And great, we're not going to blame you it missed it, but then you got to admit it was too hard to catch, and that's going to make it easy for us to go, we'll get rid of it then.
So this is what I've heard now. I've heard that the first thing was because the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year, a lot of owners didn't want to vote against the tush push and be like, well, you guys won the Super Bowl, we're going to pile on you. Now the new things that I'm hearing is it's unrefereeable, meaning they can't see that they're offsides, which it should be clear as day, like even in slow motion.
But you can see it. So then you got to do like instant replay every tush push, and that's where it gets
can't do that.
You can't, because now you're slowing the game down more than you probably already have.
But the other thing that I've heard too is when they do this tush push, Jalen Hurts gets lost between the offensive line and everybody pushing him. They can't tell where the ball is. I understand they've got this new marker where the ball is, but that's where the refs place it. It's not where the ball ends up in general. It's where the refs place it. They've got this new electronic thing, if it's a first down or not. That's why you're not going to see the chain gang come out this year, which is disappointing because that's old school. Like, I love seeing the chain gang come out.
This is part of trying to speed up the game, though. Is they're trying to, you know what I mean? You don't have to.
But now they can't see where the ball actually is because he's tucking it in so close to his chest, and he's in between like 6 or 7 guys. They lose sight of where the actual ball is. Like, they can't physically spot it. So I think it's going to get banned because you can't referee it. You can't, between the offensive or the offsides that aren't being called, which should be called, and
false starts.
Offside false starts. You're right. And then the fact that you can't see where the ball is in the scrum because it just gets lost. It's like, well, I guess he got the first down based off of where we're seeing him. Like, he could be down and then just push his hands forward, and then he's just laying there like, oh, that's where the ball is. Mm-hmm. But his knee could have been down before he pushed his hands forward. It's one of those things where that's one of the things that I'm seeing online on a lot of sports talk shows. They're saying that referees just can't see where the ball actually is. And I think that's actually bigger than not calling the offsides or the false starts, because those should be obvious. Like, you should have a ref right there.
I don't believe that they can't tell that these are false starts.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't believe
like that. I think the bigger issue is not seeing where the ball is after they get done after the play.
Yeah.
They should be seeing these false starts, because I've seen a lot of replays where the offensive linemen are just going forward before the ball even moves, and you can see the ball move.
My thing is too that like people are always complaining about like, oh well, why don't other teams do it then, right? Because like it's an unstoppable play. My whole thing is I don't want other teams to do it. I don't want anybody to do it. I think it takes away from football. It's a cheat code. I feel like you should just go back to throw a fucking fullback in there, throw a regular QB sneak in there. But this whole tush push, we get all these 300-pound men pushing another guy around in there, and it's just kind of brute strength and brute. No, man. Just go back to hard-nosed football with just a regular QB sneak, a fullback dive, an HB dive, jump over the pile. Anything like that I'm okay with. I don't want it to get to the point where they're having to use a tush push, and they have. Like, it feels like every 4th and 1 or less
4th and short, 3rd and short
is a guaranteed tush push. It's coming. It's boring to watch. Even when they get it, it's boring to watch. Like, nobody cares.
It's a rugby play too. That's what they do fucking do in rugby. That's where it came from. I know other teams have tried. Eagles fans are like, well, it's legal. Every team can do it. Why don't you do it? Well, we don't have probably 29 other teams don't have quarterbacks that can squat 600 pounds, get low, and use their massive
like I
fucking
said, it
legs
don't matter
to push
if you
forward.
can, if you got the people or not. I just think it's taken away from the sport.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. It just doesn't make sense.
Giants giving the Chiefs their first win of the season, and we'll talk about this right now. Fans, coaches, everybody's seen enough of Russell Wilson. Jackson Dart will make his debut against the Chargers this upcoming week. Is it a good choice?
Yeah.
Let me go first on this, because I know your opinion is no, because I know your opinion is yes. I think it is as well, and I'll play devil's advocate on both sides of it though. But I agree that it's now or next week, but it's going to happen sooner rather than later anyways. Throw him in there. You're at home, and I'd rather start him at home than on the road. Get it? It's a tough. I think it is. I think they're at home.
You're right.
Okay.
Giants are home. Okay. I for some reason I thought it was away.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead
later. But so a home game, that's a bonus, and it's a good team. So my whole thing here, why you wouldn't start him is we want to protect him. It's more of a confidence thing. It has nothing to really do with like him getting hurt. Obviously that's on the back of your mind too, but I don't think they're afraid necessarily that he's going to get hurt. I don't think they're afraid that he can't do it. Obviously he's physically gifted. It's more of the mental aspect of it. Now I get it. Like we talked about, taking reps is the best way here to get this experience. And I think why you wouldn't start him is, all right, what if they come out, you're playing a good team, and you get absolutely trounced on? Now it's like messes with his mental. The next game, is it weighing on him? Like he doesn't want that to happen again, and then he takes a second loss. It's like that shit can pile up on a rookie quarterback. Just mentally, I think is where people kind of are nervous of starting him. That being said, I agree with you. I think the right decision, though, is to start him this game. You know what you have in Russ. You can always go back to Russ, which we've seen multiple other teams do. Start at quarterback. He doesn't do good. They go to the new guy. He looks good. A few games later, fizzles out. You can go back to the old guy. Russ isn't going anywhere. They paid him a lot of money. He'll still be a viable option if something happens or he just isn't playing well. Jackson Dart isn't playing well. So you don't have to worry about that. You have a guy to go to. Plus, they also have Jameis Winston, who, if they want to get froggy and start throwing 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions, they can plug in Mr. Winston there too. So the quarterback situation could be fixed this year with one of three guys, whether it's Jackson Dart, whether it's Jameis Winston, or they come back to Russ and then he has like an awakening going, I don't want to get benched again. Maybe I want to play next year and I got to ball out again. Well, fuck it. Okay. So I think, long story short, I think it's a good decision. I'm excited to see what he can do. It will be a tough game, though, despite being home. The Chargers do have a good defense. It's a good team, and they're undefeated.
Yeah, I don't know if making this week was the right week to do it, but just in general, putting Jackson Dart out there, Brian Daboll and Joe Shane, their jobs are on the line.
I was just going to say jobs are on the line, too.
The jobs are on the absolute line right now. If you can't figure out this quarterback that you drafted in the first round is going to be good enough for your future, you should have, honestly, he probably should have started to figure this out. Russell Wilson looks like a shell of himself from his Seattle days. And I think Jackson Dart starting this week probably wasn't the smartest idea. I don't know who they play in week 5.
It's the Saints, but it's on the road. But
that
still,
doesn't matter. It's the Saints.
I think they wanted to start him in front of a home crowd, though.
Actually, I think starting on an away crowd where there's less pressure of your home fans. That could be true. I think
next week against the Saints, because after that it's Eagles, Broncos, Eagles again. So you don't want to start them against those teams.
Yeah. So So maybe they're
49ers, but they're trash.
So 49ers are 3-0.
They're trash.
They're not trash.
We'll talk
they're
about
good,
them.
and they're going to get healthier. Anyways, so I think starting this week against the Chargers, who are now 3-0 in their own division after 3 weeks, which is absolutely incredible because I think they're the first team I think I saw since 2002 to start their season against 3 divisional opponents and go 3-0. I think since the Saints in 2002 or 2008, one of those teams. But anyways, I think Jackson Dart I think Russell Wilson maybe should have started this game and put Jackson Dart in at the half and just been like, okay, we know we're going to be down.
That's like a weird situation to start a guy and then pull him at the half. Though.
It's tough. Not because, no, I don't think so because.
I do. I don't think that's right. You kind of want him to get a whole game, like a feel for the beginning of the game throughout the entirety of it because now you're banking on Russ to be bad. Like if he's good, you're not going to make that sub. You're not. If you're up,
he was good the previous week against the Cowboys. He threw for 420 yards.
What I'm saying is in the middle of a game, you're banking on him to be bad through 2 quarters. You're not
banking on him to be bad.
Well, if you want to start a guy at the half, you're not going to start a guy at the half.
You wouldn't start a guy at the half if the Giants were winning. I'm just saying.
Yes, that's.
I don't think starting him against a 3-0 team, even though they're on the road. They've shown that they're competitive because they've beaten their own division 3 times this year. They've already beaten the Chiefs. They've already beaten the Broncos, and they've already beaten the Raiders. You're telling me that this team is not going to come out and beat a non-divisional team?
They might. You don't
non-conference,
know. Nobody knows
right non-conference
now.
Team.
You got Cam Scadaboo in there now, dude.
Cam Scadaboo is going to be one of those guys who's out of the league in 4 years because this dude lowers his head into everybody.
Good.
This dude is the definition of CTE in 4 years. As much as I love Cam Scadaboo, I wanted the Bills to draft him.
I know.
I'm on the record of saying I wanted the Bills to draft Cam Skidmore.
They're not going to go high on a guy anyways. When did he get drafted? It wasn't that high, actually.
Third round, I think.
So my whole thing is like, you know what you got in James Cook, and you got good backups. Like there's no, they didn't need to. If they're getting a guy, I still
like Frank Gore Jr.
And yeah, you got Frank Gore Jr. They got so much depth at the running. It's like the only piece that we don't need to draft anybody within the first 3 rounds for the next probably 4 years.
But back to the Giants and Russell Wilson, I think this gives the Giants to do something with Russell Wilson. I think they trade him, and I would not be shocked if the Giants trade him to. I think the Giants trade him to Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's going to be out for a while. Jake Browning looked like absolute dog shit last week.
Yeah, they need a quarterback.
They need a quarterback, and I think Russell Wilson. Just throwing the ball to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown. I forgot who their tight end is.
Mike Gesicki? I don't know.
It might be.
I think it's Gesicki, but they have another guy too.
But I'm just saying.
Oh,
like,
Noah Fant.
I would not be surprised if and the the Bengals are known for not wanting to overpay the quarterbacks, overpay in any position, and not trade away draft picks. I really think. If the Bengals were like, hey, we'll give you a 5th or a 6th round pick for Russell Wilson, who's pretty much making a hair above league minimum this year. Yeah. Like, I think that's a good thing. And Russell Wilson is actually probably better than Jake Browning at this point. Jake Browning looked horrible last week. He looked good last year in Joe Burrow's replacement. He looked horrible last week. I think Russell Wilson would be a slight upgrade to Jake Browning. If Jake
he'll be a huge upgrade. Huge upgrade.
I'm just saying. Well, I'm not saying huge because Russell Wilson hasn't looked good.
No,
he didn't look good his 2 years in Denver.
It's a big upgrade. I know he hasn't looked great, but
he didn't look good last year in Pittsburgh, and he didn't look good.
He looked fine. He looked fine in Pittsburgh.
He looked okay.
He looked fine. He fell off at the end of the year, but when they first subbed him in, they were winning those games.
Justin Fields is 4-2, and they pulled Justin Fields for Russell Wilson.
And Russ started off hot, but I think it's still a huge upgrade over Jake Browning, dude, who's he's just a backup quarterback. He'll always be a backup quarterback. He's a backup quarterback. And he's got literally Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, dude. You're a backup quarterback.
No, I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see that though. Either that, maybe they give him Winston. Who knows?
I want Winston in the New York spot.
He looks good. He looks good in the blue too.
He does.
I didn't write anything down for this last game here, but just to touch on it, that Ravens and Detroit game was a really good game.
Fantastic game.
It played out the way I thought it would play out. High scoring. Detroit got the job done. Their defense, surprisingly, although gave up 30, sacked Lamar 7 times and had an interception. Or I'm sorry, a fumble.
Yeah, a fumble on Lamar Jackson.
No, it was it Lamar or was it? It was Derrick Henry because I remember him going to the bench slamming his helmet, and we know he's got fumbling problems. He had them last year.
He did not have fumbling problems last year.
Lamar,
he has more fumbles this year than he had the past 168 games before that.
Jamie, look that up.
Yeah, Jamie, look that up. Pull it up for us. There is no Jamie here. We're not the Joe Rogan podcast. We are Beers and Buffalo podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Let's see.
Yeah, Derrick Henry had not had a fumble up until he has more fumbles this year than the last 3 years combined.
So last year, all 17 games. Do you see it on here? It's small. I know.
It's rushing. Very small. I'm looking. I don't see any fumbles on here at all.
Okay, I got to go to rushing, probably. Advanced rushing. Here we go. Receiving. Right. It's got to be in here, dude.
Fumbles have to be in here. I don't really know what you're looking at, what website this is, but they're not even showing fumbles.
Son of a bitch. I know they have to have them in here. Why is interceptions in here, but...
Yeah, it doesn't even make any fucking sense.
Dude,
what website are you fucking looking at right here? Rushing and receiving.
Yeah, the same.
How does he not have fumbles on here?
This is the same website I use all the time. And
it doesn't show any fumbles.
All right, well, we'll go to another website, but no,
click that Derrick Henry career stats NFL on ESPN. ESPN sucks, by the way. They had Matt Milano listed as the second string starter, or second string instead of the starter.
Okay, here we go.
Fumbles.
Well, that was quick. You're way off. 3. So we had 3 last year.
He's already got 3 this year. He had 3 all of last year. He had 0 in 2023.
Yeah.
So he had 4 in 2022 in 16 games. So he had 3 fumbles in 34 games in Tennessee and Baltimore. He's already got 3 after 3 games this year. It's weird. Like, Derrick Henry's not known for fumbling. That's what I mean. Like, he's already got more fumbles this year than the last 2 years combined, or the same amount as the last 2 years combined. And they're the punch out fumbles. They're the peanut punch out.
Well, that's the thing. They're usually from behind too, and which I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, because that's hard if you're anybody. That's hard if you don't know, if you can't sense a guy behind you. That's very hard to not to hold on to that.
Ed Olivers was in front.
He wasn't behind him. He was directly in front of him.
He was going to make a tackle and punched him.
Was he in front of him? Yeah, he was.
I remember watching that game. I watched that game in full. That was the first game we watched at my house for the first Sunday night game. Speaking of Sunday night games, you guys stack a bunch of cans in front of me last week?
We'll talk about that. I just want to cover some key injuries before we get into the pick'ems here. I already told you, Najee, Achilles, out for the year.
Yep.
James Conner, ankle, out for the year.
It's tough.
CeeDee Lamb, ankle. He's questionable, but it looks like he'll be out for at least. He might be out
3
for
weeks. I saw.
Was it? Okay, I didn't know it was that.
Weeks.
That's a huge loss for the Cowboys.
That's a relief.
But
because
also,
I saw that replay and it looked like he snapped his leg.
But also, this is why you go out and get a George Pickens, because now you got a guy that can play the one. He did it, and he did it in Pittsburgh. So
you're right.
At least they're not going to really miss. I mean, they're going to miss him, but it's not detrimental. If they didn't have George Pickens, they're fucked. Tyrone Tracy, shoulder, he'll be missing some games. Cam Scatteraboo, we already said we both like him. Hard-nosed player. I believe that Jackson Dart will utilize him a lot in the passing game too, because Russ used him a lot last week. They were I think he caught 6 of 8 passes last week. Terry McLaurin, quad, at least 1 week. Nick Bosa, knee, ACL, probably season.
Yeah, it's ACL is done for the year.
Mike Evans, hamstring, 3 to 4 weeks.
Yep.
Like, these are all prominent players I just named, folks. It is the season for injuries. We had Aaron Jones last week that got hurt. That's all, folks. So yeah, man, it's already been injury after injury after injury after the first 4 or 3 weeks here of football. All right, guys, we're gonna get into the pick'ems. Actually, first, let's recap last week, which wasn't pretty. Let me toss up the screen. That's a beer pick'em record. So I had a losing record, 7-9. We did get the bonus right there, which was James Cook over his 68.5 rushing. Jeff 9-7 got his bonus under Tua's passing yards, 238.5.
Yeah, we're now 6-0 in our bonuses, which is fantastic.
I'm happy about that. I'm winning money.
If we keep riding this, we're gonna win like $50 by the end of the season. Woo! We'll take each other out to dinner for that.
I'll take it, man. All right, let's get into the schedule here. I don't know if this is gonna mirror this one, but
we'll go based off.
We'll
the
go based
screen
off
if
the
you got
screen.
It up on the.
It might actually mirror this. So we'll start with the first game tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football, Seattle at the Arizona Cardinals. The line's only 1.5. I think that's crazy
for the away team.
Yeah, but that's crazy though. 1.5 after Seattle just dominated last week.
Well, Arizona was undefeated up until last week, so
and they're home. I know, but they're home. I know they're home, but they just don't even look.
They didn't lose by much,
it was a 1-point game. I think this should be just. I'm not saying like they're terrible. I don't think they're that good, but I don't think they're terrible. I think it's more like Seattle has actually been playing very well. That's why I'm surprised. And it's a divisional game, so I get it. I would say like 3.5 on that one. You're giving me money line. I'm taking the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks too. I already marked them down. I believe in the Seahawks offense more than Arizona's offense. Arizona, I feel bad for Marvin Harrison Jr. He was projected to be the next Marvin Harrison, and it just hasn't worked out. I don't think Kyler Murray is that good of a quarterback.
Not. They're going to probably move on.
His rushing ability is what's keeping his job.
He can't throw the ball. He's terrible. Let's kick off the Sunday games here. Minnesota at Pittsburgh. Oh, this is a morning game. I forgot about.
Oh
this.
yeah, that's right.
It's
very
early
morning
in Ireland.
Yeah.
Ooh, so no home field advantage. Honestly, still gonna. I'll go Pittsburgh still.
I'm going Minnesota on this one. I liked what I saw from Minnesota last week, putting up 40-something points. J.J. McCarthy probably not going to play again this week. Carson Wentz, I think he's going to do good enough. Pittsburgh hasn't shown me enough. They haven't played a really good team. They haven't beaten a really good team yet for me to believe in Pittsburgh and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I get it. Washington at Atlanta. After I saw last week, it's hard to pick Atlanta in anything. Washington even getting a win with Marcus Mariota at the QB,
and they beat him by like 30.
Yeah, give me 20. Washington on that.
Yep, same.
Saints, Buffalo. Both of us taking
Buffalo.
The Bills. Cleveland at Detroit.
I cannot pick Cleveland. I'm going Detroit.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm going to go Detroit too.
You can't go Cleveland.
No,
Cleveland shouldn't even won last week.
But that's what I mean.
I don't even know what the fuck they were doing last week. Green Bay.
They were losing.
They were playing not to lose and they lost. They weren't playing to win. They were playing not to lose.
Like Josh Jacobs had like 30 yards rushing, dude. Come on. Carolina at New England. Are you gonna ride the hot hand here, dude?
No. Yeah, you know what? I think I am. I'm gonna go
2
Carolina.
in a row.
I'm gonna go Carolina again on this one. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go hot hand.
I got to go against you. I'm taking New England.
Okay,
just because
I could be wrong. I think I got some room to wiggle here.
Let's do. I'm following the screen. Los Angeles Chargers at the New York Giants. Jackson Dart debut. We just talked about it.
Yeah, I can't. As much as I love Cam Scatterbo, as much as I'm a Jackson Dart believer, I think the Chargers have looked too impressive going 3-0 in their own division. Until they lose to somebody that they shouldn't lose to, I can't pick against them.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to take the Chargers. They're just the better team. Hampton looks really good. And also, give me Herbert over a rookie quarterback start. And as much as you want to root for the kid, but like if we're just trying to be smart here, I think it's the Chargers.
Totally agree.
Philly at the Bucks here. This is actually going to be a good game here. I love Baker Mayfield, man. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay at home. Philly with that fluky comeback, dude. They should have lost that game. No way. Give me Tampa. But Tampa almost lost to the Jets last week. We didn't talk about that game, and that was closer than it needed to be, too. But I'm going to give me Tampa still.
That's why I'm taking Philadelphia.
Okay.
I'm taking Philadelphia against Tampa Bay. But if this were a playoff game, I'd take Tampa to beat Philadelphia because for whatever reason, Tampa Bay plays lights out at home in the playoffs. So
I'm just going with the home team on this because it's so they're good teams, and if it was Philly at home, I'd go Philly. Tampa at home, I'm going to go Tampa.
I'm taking Philly just because.
Tennessee at Houston here to finish off the 1:00 games. Dog shit on dog shit. Houston, a big surprise how bad they've looked this year. Tennessee, I think, is winless.
Yeah, they're both winless. These are both 0-3 teams.
And Houston has they're a 7.5 spread, being an 0-3 divisional opponent game. Are you kidding me? That's why it might take
knowing
the Titans.
That's 7.5.
That's a Titans plus 7.5.
I'm going to take the Titans as well. Until you said it was a 7.5 point spread, I was picking Houston. But because it's 7.5 points, I got to go with Tennessee in this game.
It could go either way.
It could. I'm taking Tennessee in this one just
too.
Because Houston has looked absolutely abysmal.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud looks absolutely nothing like he did his rookie year.
Yeah, he's definitely fallen off the wagon here. All right, Indy at the Rams. I'm sorry. Good game, undefeated.
Rams are not undefeated, but undefeated versus one loss.
What are they, 2-1?
Rams lost to the Eagles last week.
Oh, duh.
They should have lost, or should have won.
Stand corrected. Rams have one loss. Rams 3.5 point favorites here. Give me money line situation here. Give me the Rams at home. They're going to give Indy their first loss of the year.
I think so too. As much as Indy has, and as good as Indy has looked, they played a couple of bad teams to start the year. I got to go with the Rams in this one, as they were dominant against
Eagles,
the defending Super Bowl champions last year. they should have won that game.
They should have. I think they're going to be mad too.
I
they're
think
coming
so
off
too.
That loss,
They're coming. They're going to come. They're looking for revenge next week.
Jacksonville at the 49ers. I think the 49ers are fake 3-0. They have a lot of injuries. But Jacksonville is just such a terrible team that I can't even pick against them. So the 49ers will remain undefeated for another week.
I think so as well. I think San Francisco wins this one. Jacksonville I picked last week and they won. Just going on the road, I think is going to be a little bit tougher. I think eventually San Francisco is going to be, they're going to get healthier. They're going to get some receivers back. I just think that Jacksonville is probably not going to win this one.
Baltimore at the Kansas City Chiefs. Good game. It's a 4:25 game. I will be watching this one. Baltimore.
You want to come over for it? Watch
425.
outside before the 7:20 game or 8:20 game.
8:20 game, yeah. No, that 8:20 game is going to be lights out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's actually going to be a really good game. I like the Ravens. Oh, dude, this is tough. Man. I wish that I don't wish that they were better, but if Kansas City was at full power, I could see them eking this one out early in the season. Here, we still don't know if Worthy's going to play. Obviously, they don't have Rice back. I gotta go Baltimore.
Baltimore.
That was a bad loss last week too. So
They've got two bad losses. They've got last week was a bad loss, and the Bills was a bad loss. I think Baltimore being 1-2 is they're a better 1-2 than the Chiefs 1-2. So I've seen that this is called the not be 1-3. Yeah. The 1-3
I think
bowl.
This will be a really good game.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a very good game. Baltimore, I think, wins this one.
One of the other shocks last week was we didn't talk about Chicago beating Dallas. We didn't have that on our bingo card.
No.
Chicago at the Raiders. I actually might ride the hot hand on this one and take Chicago. Because, again, both bad teams here. Chicago is technically a favorite on the road. This is a wild I don't know I don't know the last time Chicago was a favorite on the road. Yeah, it's only 1.5, but still, I don't know the last time Chicago was a favorite.
I just don't believe in I don't know.
It's tricky, dude. You could go either way.
I'm going to take the Raiders on this one.
Okay, Geno hasn't looked good. That's the only thing. Geno
hasn't looked good, but
and
Genti
hasn't done anything either yet. So
I just think that's game script, and I think it's going to come down to I think the Chicago Bears aren't on a good team. I really think Vegas actually pulls this one out at home. I'm taking the home team on this one. If Chicago were home, I'd probably take Chicago.
I'm not mad
at that. And then
that
comes down to while you're pouring your beer.
Yep.
That's our Sunday night football game on Peacock or NBC is going to be Green Bay at Dallas. This is Micah Parsons versus his home team. I'm going to show everybody you're fucking poor here. It's
half and half, dude.
It's a half and half right there.
On the table too.
Oh, and you spilled some.
It wasn't pouring right.
You should not be. I'm going to start pouring our beers every week. I got to go with Green Bay in this one. Micah Parsons is probably going to have 4 fucking sacks on Dak Prescott. I would almost put money on. If I could bet sacks on FanDuel.
You can.
Oh, can I?
Yep.
I might put Micah Parsons over his sack percentage, whatever it is on FanDuel. Micah Parsons is going to get that. I guarantee Micah Parsons in Dallas is going to have over his sack total on whatever FanDuel, DraftKings, Sleeper, the dog pick'em one, whatever the fuck it is. Green Bay is going to dominate this game.
I'm going to agree with everything you just said. Green Bay, bad loss last week, redemption time. Dallas, bad loss last week. And here's the thing, though.
And anytime you play Dallas, you're going to win.
Yes, I think it'll be. Well, look at this. Might be a little higher scoring. Green Bay does have a good defense, but this might be a little bit higher scoring of a game in Dallas. Jerry doesn't want to be wrong here, dude. You can see if they lose this game, the camera will be on Jerry Jones.
Oh yeah,
and he's gonna have that face on him, like, well, I didn't mess up, but he knows he messed up.
He fucked up.
All right, we got a back-to-back, another back-to-back Monday night games. Football special here. I wish I could be more excited because the games are absolute trash.
And the better game is on the later game.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's bad. The first one at 7:15 here, the Jets at the Dolphins. Divisional game. This might be a good game. Who knows? I didn't even give this any thought. I'm just going to go close my eyes and say Miami and just pick the home team.
I'm just going to go against you and pick the Jets. I don't know why.
Fall off this chair.
Yeah, you're going to fall off the chair. I'm going to pick the Jets in this one. I really don't know why. Maybe because I think Justin Fields is a better quarterback.
Justin Wilson, Fields.
Justin Wilson, Fields, Russell, Doan, whatever.
Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart is better than Tua. Their offense hasn't looked good for whatever reason. They stayed with Buffalo. But the previous 2 weeks against Indy and New England, they didn't look good. I'm going to go with the Jets. They've already got to win this year. Give me the Jets. And then the second game, if Joe Burrow was a healthy quarterback against Denver, this might actually be a really good game to watch. But I think being in Denver, it's hard to play in the Mile High Stadium.
There it is.
Jesus Christmas. Cincinnati just looked absolutely atrocious last week. I got to go with Denver.
Ooh, I will close things out with Denver at home as well. Maybe we see the offense get a little bit, clicking on a little bit more cylinders this week for Cincy because they looked abysmal last week. Jake Browning, who knows, man? I don't know who the third string is, but you might have to start considering, if we're not trading for somebody, you might have to consider a third string quarterback stepping in there. It just looked terrible. Chase Brown has looked bad to start the year. Jamar Chase has looked bad to start the year. T. Higgins hasn't looked great to start the year. And the defense, they paid Trey Hendrickson, but guess what? He's only one guy, and you're playing from down from behind every game. It's just not look good. Your defense is out there a lot more than they should be. They're not getting the stops. I just talked myself into obviously Denver to close that out. And then we have our pick'ems for our bets here.
We are 6-0, by the way. 6-0 on our bet. Both of us are 6-0 between the two. Well, we're both 3-0, so it makes us 6-0. Good math.
Yep.
Which, if you ride this every week, you would be making money.
Guys, I don't advise you to ride it every week, but if you have been making money with the picks. This week, Jeff, who do you got for your pick?
So I looked at everything.
Again, these are Thursday night picks.
These are Thursday night games. Only Thursday night games right now because we get the full line of picks before the week starts. I'm going with Trey Benson over rushing and receiving yards, 83.5. And I'm taking that as Benson is probably going to be a 3-down back the entire game. I got the hiccups. Benson's going to be a 3-down back every single drive that the Cardinals have. And I really feel like the Cardinals are probably going to be playing from behind. So even if Benson doesn't get the rushing yards, he might get the receiving yards. Even if he gets 3 receptions for 30 yards, he might get 50 rushing yards. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm banking on Benson over and receiving, 83.5.
They will use him in the pass game. If you didn't go with the Benson yards, I had a Benson lock as well, and it was over 3.5 receptions. I think he's averaged that through 2 games, and he wasn't the starter. So I think that it would have been safe to get his receptions. They do pass to him. Now they have that DeMercado guy as a backup. He's caught some passes. He's played third down back as well. But they could rely on Trey Benson as an every down back if they wanted. Not mad at that pick. My pick will be on the other side of the ball here for the Seahawks. Give me Jackson Smith-Njigba over 6.5 receptions. The guy has been an absolute monster through 3 games, averaging over 100 yards per game. They're targeting the shit out of him. 7 catches is a lot. Believe me, I usually stay away from things that are above 5 like that because they usually leave those to Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. But this is a team where your next best guy is Cooper Kupp, and they're just not using him. And then after that, you got guys that worked at Walmart the day before. So you got to give me JSN over 6.5 receptions. Kenny Walker might steal some here and there. Yeah. They didn't have Charbonnet last week. He was hurt.
Still iffy.
I think. Okay, so questionable for this week. So give me JSN, man. I like it. Lock it in. 6.5 receptions over.
I love it.
Awesome, guys. Well, we made it through the podcast again, another hour and 15 minutes.
That's perfect.
Right on time, as it should be, guys. If you ride with us, go ahead, Ben. But again, I don't advise it because I don't want you guys losing money on my behalf here. But
this is for entertainment purposes.
Thank you for the disclaimer.
Please do not come at us if you bet this and be like, I went 0-2 and lost my house bet. Like, I don't give a shit about that. This is for entertainment purposes only. We are betting it with actual money. We are not telling you to bet this with actual money. This entertainment purposes.
Bet responsibly. Real quick before we close, can you tell the folks where they can find us on social media?
Social media, you can find us on Facebook at Beers and Buffalo Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Beers and Buffalo Podcast. You can also find us on YouTube. If you're watching us live, you already know it's Beers and Buffalo Pod at youtube.com.
Yes.
Or something. youtube.com/Beers and Buffalo Pod. Or something like that. Or you can find us on Spotify or Apple Podcast at Beers and Buffalo Podcast.
Absolutely. All right, guys. With that being said, I'm Mikey D.
I'm Jeff.
And we out.
Go Bills.